What if I told you that something you already drink every single morning could influence how your body repairs itself at the cellular level? And what if one small change, something as simple as adding one ingredient to your coffee, could support processes linked to cellular repair, energy balance, and even how your body deals with abnormal cells? Because here's the truth most people never hear. Your body is constantly repairing itself, every second, every minute, every day. And one of the most powerful systems involved in that process is something called stem cells. Now, before we go any further, I want you to understand something very important. This is not about magic. This is not about overnight results. This is about how your body works and how your daily habits either support it or slowly weaken it. I'm Dr. James Quintin, oncologist, and I help simplify complex medical science so you can make better decisions for your health. Now let's talk about something most people overlook. Stem cells are often called the body's repair system. They have the ability to develop into different types of cells, which means they play a role in repairing tissues, maintaining organs, and supporting overall cellular health. But here's the problem. As we age, especially after 50, the activity of these cells can decline, and when that happens, the body becomes less efficient at repairing itself. Energy levels drop, recovery slows down, and the internal environment can shift in ways that are not ideal. Now here's where things become interesting. Certain lifestyle habits, including how and when you eat, can influence how your body functions at a deeper level. And one of the most overlooked habits is your morning routine. Think about this. Most people wake up and immediately reach for coffee, but what you add to that coffee can either support your body or work against it. Because your body, especially in the morning, is in a very sensitive metabolic state, and small changes during this time can have a bigger impact than you realize. Now let's connect this to something you've probably heard before, the idea of starving cancer cells. Now this phrase is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean you can simply remove one thing and eliminate a disease, but it does point to something important. Cancer cells depend on certain conditions to grow. They rely on fuel, they rely on signals, they rely on an environment that allows them to multiply. And when that environment changes, their ability to grow can change too. So instead of thinking, what kills cancer cells? A better question is, what kind of environment makes it harder for them to thrive? Because that's where real control begins. Now let me ask you something. What if your daily habits, including something as simple as your morning coffee, could influence that environment? Because that's exactly what we're going to explore. And the ingredient we're about to talk about is something you've probably seen before, but never really understood. Now let's talk about the one thing most people completely overlook, what you add to your coffee. Because coffee on its own is not the problem. In fact, coffee contains natural compounds that have been studied for their antioxidant properties. But what most people add to their coffee is where things start to go wrong. Sugar, artificial creamers, highly processed additives. These create spikes in blood sugar, increase inflammation, and over time, can shift your body into a less balanced state. And remember what we talked about earlier. Cancer cells thrive in certain environments, especially environments with instability, inflammation, and excess fuel. So now let's shift the focus. Instead of adding something that works against your body, what if you added something that supports it? This is where the simple but powerful idea comes in, adding healthy fats to your coffee. Now before you jump to conclusions, let me explain why this matters. When you add a small amount of healthy fat, such as grass-fed butter or MCT oil, your body responds differently. Instead of a quick spike in energy followed by a crash, you get a more stable, sustained source of fuel. This helps your body stay in a more balanced metabolic state. Now here's where it connects to something deeper. When your body is not constantly relying on sugar, it becomes more flexible. It can switch between using glucose and fat for energy. And this process is known as metabolic flexibility. This shift can influence how your body manages energy, inflammation, and cellular stress. And when those systems are more balanced, your body functions more efficiently. Now let's go one level deeper. When your body is not constantly overloaded with food, and when your metabolism is stable, it may support processes related to cellular repair. One of those processes is called autophagy. This is your body's internal cleanup system. It removes damaged components, recycles old cells, and helps maintain healthier cellular function. And this is where the idea of reactivating stem cells often comes into conversation. Not because one ingredient directly switches something on overnight, but because certain habits may support the environment where your body's repair systems function better. And when those systems are working efficiently, everything from energy to recovery to cellular balance improves. Now think about this. If your morning starts with sugar, processed creamers, and unstable energy, you're pushing your body in one direction. But if your morning starts with stable energy, better metabolic balance, and fewer spikes, you're creating a completely different internal environment. And over time, that difference adds up. Now here's something important to understand. Cancer cells rely heavily on glucose. This is why they often absorb more sugar than normal cells. So when your body is constantly exposed to high sugar levels, you are creating a steady supply of fuel. But when your body becomes more balanced, when it's not constantly flooded with sugar, that environment changes. And that's where the phrase starving cancer cells comes from, not by eliminating food, but by reducing the conditions that support rapid growth. Now here's the key point. This is not about extreme diets. This is not about cutting everything out. This is about making smarter choices, consistently. And your morning routine is one of the easiest places to start, because it sets the tone for your entire day. Now let me ask you something. If one small change in your coffee can influence your energy, your metabolism, and your internal balance, why wouldn't you at least try it? But we're not done yet, because in the next part, I'm going to show you exactly how to use this correctly, because most people who try this do it the wrong way and end up getting little to no benefit. Now let's make this simple, because information only matters if you can actually use it. Most people hear something like this, get excited, try it for a few days, and then stop, not because it doesn't work, but because they don't apply it correctly or consistently. So let's break this down into something you can realistically follow. When you wake up in the morning, your body is in a unique state. You've gone hours without eating. Your insulin levels are lower. Your body is more sensitive to what you consume. This is why your first input of the day matters more than you think. So instead of immediately adding sugar, flavored syrups, or processed creamers, you keep it simple. Coffee, and a small amount of healthy fat. This could be something like a teaspoon of MCT oil, or a small amount of grass-fed butter. Now here's why this works. It slows down the way your body processes energy. It prevents sharp spikes. It helps maintain a more stable state. And when your energy is stable, your body doesn't experience the same level of stress. Now here's the mistake most people make. They either add too much or expect instant results. This is not about extremes. More is not better. Consistency is better. Start small. Let your body adjust. Pay attention to how you feel. Now here's something just as important. Timing. After having your coffee, avoid constant snacking. Give your body time. Time to use energy. Time to reset. Time to activate those internal processes we talked about earlier, because your body needs space to repair, to clean up, to function efficiently. And when you're constantly eating, you remove that opportunity. Now let's talk about expectations. This is not something that transforms your body in a day, but it is something that can influence your body over time. And that's the key. Small changes, repeated daily, create long-term results. Now let's connect everything one last time. Stem cells represent your body's ability to repair. Your metabolism represents how your body uses energy. Your habits determine the environment inside you, and that environment influences how your cells behave. So when you make small improvements, you are not just changing one thing, you are influencing an entire system. Now I want you to think about this honestly. How many things in your life are you doing automatically, without questioning them? Your morning routine, your diet, your habits. And what if one small change, something as simple as what you add to your coffee, could shift your body in a better direction? Not overnight, but over time. Because real health is not built in one moment. It's built through patterns, and patterns come from daily choices. Now here's the most important thing I want you to take from this video. There is no single trick that will solve everything, but there are simple habits that, when done consistently, can support your body in powerful ways. And that's where real change happens, not in extremes, not in shortcuts, but in consistency. Now before we close, I want to leave you with one thought. Your body is not working against you. It is constantly trying to protect you, to repair you, to keep you functioning. The question is, are your daily habits supporting that process or making it harder? Because once you understand that, everything changes. If this video gave you a new perspective, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because sometimes, one small idea can lead to a completely different future. Thank you for watching, and remember, the smallest habits, repeated daily, create the biggest impact over time.